Marfoogle TV going live in 3, 2. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam A.K. Marf, and this is a urgent broadcast. We're going to go over a lot of what has gone down today, and the 24 hours right before is just insane. So obviously we had a protest in almost every major city. We also had, of course, a massive event, in D.C. with this parade. And then we also had a all-out conflict going on with Iran and Israel. So a lot of this is all going down at the same time. And it seems to me like this is just the craziest coincidence. And then, of course, we had lawmakers that were taken out. We'll talk about that and the suspicious kind of thing behind that. Once you kind of see that, you'll see exactly what we mean. I mean, wearing villain masks and stuff. I mean, it's just nuts. So again, let's get into it. First off, officers injured as Portland peaceful protesters, we'll call them, breach ICE building with explosives and rocks. Again, this is, I'm assuming, something that is not going to get too much coverage. They're probably going to want to cover, a light turnout at the D.C. event rather than covering this. Multiple police officers were injured in Portland, Oregon, Saturday night during a violent confrontation with, of course, the police and Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility. A mob launched fireworks, smoke grenades, and threw rocks at federal law enforcement as they broke glass and forcibly entered the ICE facility. Homeland Security Assistant Tricia McLaughlin told Fox News Digital. So you had this, and of course, over the night before, you had over the last 3 nights at different locations at ICE, you have people surrounding the fences, being pushed out of the way so they can actually get through, and you even had an escape of 9 different people that were detained actually escaped. And I was thinking, what is the story on the 9 that escaped, right? Where were they from? Were they from, down south, or were they from out east, right? I thought it was crazy that they coordinated. They were able to basically, push on this Newark facility, and 9 of these guys get out. I believe it was Newark. I'll have to correct that later if I'm wrong. But yeah, lots of really, really crazy things going. We're going to show you, of course, tweets from all over the world and all over the country here in just a second. But I do want to remind you guys, this is a Saturday show. Make sure to share it out. It is rare that we do one. Again, make sure to also go check out EMP Shield. This is an affiliate that is not just an ad. Ads are not just ads to us. I know that you guys don't like them. I don't like them. But these are things that we believe will save your life in an emergency. And this one specifically is going to save you and get you home to your family after an EMP strike. If you don't know about electromagnetic pulse attacks, then I'd highly recommend getting to know them. Again, this also is a device that will protect you against a solar event, a Carrington-level event from the sun. If you haven't heard about that, also something to look into. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. Make sure to use the code MARF. You'll get $50 off with our discount, and you will get, of course, the Liberty sale while it is still going, stacked on top of that. This is the same technology that the United States is using, and even the Texas grid under the DEMSO team. So again, you'll probably have this technology going on up above around you, of course, protecting the government infrastructure. But as we all know, when things hit and disasters hit, it hasn't been too good as far as on the civilian protection side. They'll protect themselves, but what happens to us? Again, if you want to protect yourself, marfooglenews.com/EMP, and that works on cars, trucks, motorcycles, boats, generators, gas, and solar, and of course your home and even your ham radios. All right, let's bring in my co-internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
What is going on, everybody that is in chat? We've got Margaret Arnold. We've got Julie C. We've got a lot of new names in here. I'm assuming because we're on the weekend and people are, not at work and can actually watch. So it's really, really awesome to see all of you here. All right. And then Ghosts and Cars, Donna Honey. We have Marley 1. We have KXX. We have Julie C. Minnesota Fats 45, Daggett and Stump. See here, think. So many awesome people. Thank you for popping in. All right. And then we have a curfew declared in L.A. Now, if you haven't seen some of the videos of L.A., L.A. has been getting nuts. They are tearing down statues. L.A. has been going for, days now, almost over a week. Dex, with L.A., did you see some of the chaos that's going on in L.A.?
Yeah, it's crazy what's happening there, and the escalation that we've seen. Obviously, starting there, over a week ago now. But yeah, this is it just continues to ramp up, especially as the night falls and things get more hectic, just like we're seeing in Portland now.
Yeah, and I guess my bingo card was not on Portland being the worst. L.A. of course did have Predator drones flying over it. They confirmed that the U.S. government confirmed that Predator drones are now flying over L.A., which is kind of insane. It's actually the second time I remember this ever happening, and the first time was, of course, during the Floyd stuff. Now it is going nuts. Now, remember on Thursday or Friday, we were starting to talk about how they were doing the original ops that started all of this. They went in and they were trying to grab people to deport them, right? ICE was. And basically all of these folks in LA, it was a very public thing. People were all around. Why they did that in the daytime too kind of confused me. Why didn't they do a very tactical thing? I guess they did go in, but how did it become such a big thing right away? Did somebody tip a lot of people off to get that all on camera? Like, if you noticed how many people were right there for when that initial event happened, and then of course everybody gathered very quickly. You had to have the ICE people and others basically throwing flashbang grenades outside of their cars to, kind of push people back for them to get through. And for all intents and purposes, people are thinking this all started from then. Well, the No Kings thing, to my knowledge, did not exist before Friday. And you're thinking, how did something this massive and this what happened today in all across the country, how did this thing get thrown together so fast? Well, we talked about Mobilize.us. Mobilize.us is a site that is essentially tied in with Indivisible and all of these different political things. When you look at it, you will see that everybody that runs Mobilize.us is connected with not only the last prez, the prez before T-Man's first term, and the prez before that. So it is pretty crazy that or I guess before Bush. So you have all of these different connections to essentially the people that people have theorized are really running it and have been running it since their term. It is really crazy to see. Now, during all of this chaos, two people were apparently taken out. One of them is guaranteed that they perished. One of them may survive. A third is in some sort of condition because a Minnesota man, supposedly, and I want to say there's a lot of weird things about this. A Minnesota bang, Vance Luther Bolter, disguised himself in a full police uniform and a skin-tight latex mask before taking out two lawmakers. We've gone from political tension to straight-up Hollywood villain insanity. So this is the look. Now, when you look at this guy, They actually have pictures earlier today of the same gentleman without the mask and with a what do you call it? A cowboy hat. And the guy looks absolutely giant. This is the gentleman, and there is actually a better one on our website. Our website shows you all of this. When you look at the pictures in this one, so let's go to this one. This is actually from the FBI. So this shows you the gentleman. They're offering $50,000 on him. Look at this picture of him over here. So this guy looks like a giant dude. Now, this is the blink cam. I'm sorry, just my personal opinion is this guy does not look that big. I know it's a top down, and you're thinking, well, maybe it's a fisheye. Well, blink cameras, which they do say that this is a blink cam, do not use fisheye. They use wide angle. So you would actually have this gentleman look bigger. There's actually more pictures and more angles in other pictures, which if you go to our website, you can actually see this lower down. You can see in this one. So you see his waist, okay? Now, the wide angle camera would add a couple pounds, right? Not take it away. So let me see if I can get this without it. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to shrink this down a little bit. Yeah, let me see if I can get this. The one part I can't get is the... let me see if I can re-angle this, because the one part that's getting cut out. Let me see if I can zoom in on his waist. Yeah, his waist, you can see it right here. It is literally that thin. It is thinner than his chest. I don't see, unless he's wearing, what do you call it, one of those, corset. unless he's wearing a corset, I don't see how his waist could be thinner than this. And even if it was a fisheye lens, I don't see how that could do that. Again, if you don't know the difference, again, fisheye lenses, I have some pictures here. If you're very close to them, your face will look super big. The farther away, the smaller you look. Now, again, blink cameras usually do not use fisheye. They use wide angle lenses, again, that make people appear wider or heavier. So a lot of things don't make sense. Again, this guy apparently, was able to almost take out 2 leaders. Dex, again, with this whole thing, how did they catch him again?
Well, he hasn't actually been caught, but they ran into
That's
him.
right.
So
that's right.
Yeah.
He escaped.
So he goes into the first house and he takes out the senator and their spouse. Off of that information, the police decide to start going to other, I guess, politicians' homes. And one of them they went to was the Hunters, or I can't remember their last name, the second one. And they saw him coming out of the house. So obviously he had already done the deed, and they exchanged gunfire with him. And then he got away. That's the current story. And then, of course, those are the 2 people. I don't know if it's because they got immediate attention and were maybe rushed directly to the hospital or not, or maybe he just was a bad shot. Those 2 are thankfully surviving, according to the reports now.
Yeah, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to zoom in here. So there's a lot being put out there. There's pieces being put out by the New York Post essentially saying that this man is accused of taking these guys out, which, again, many people don't even know about this yet. People have been following all of course, what has been going on with the nationwide protests. It says that he is being accused of running a private security company that has deep ties to the Middle East and the Strip, right? Think about how this could be set up. Vance Luther Bolter lists himself on LinkedIn as the CEO of Red Lion Group, which anybody that's into some symbolism, gosh, go into that, which is based in the Democratic Republic of Congo and claims to run a private security firm. This is straight up like out of the Bond movies. Like this guy runs the private security firm and is doing like a black op or something. I mean, think about where this could go. And again, say if this guy is the Fatsy, we'll call him the Fatsy, right? Then if this isn't really the guy, why are they setting him up to make it look like that? What would be the 4D chess reason why this is happening? It does look very, very crazy. Again, they have all sorts of other posts going out. It is still fresh, so we will see as this ends up going along. This was Jake Hinneran, a lone wolf, took down 2 politicians in the U.S. today. And again, they believe they almost caught him, and they ended up running into him because they went to, I think, a third person's house or the second person's house, and he ended up getting in a back and forth and getting away. But the back and forth supposedly was in this mask. So how do we absolutely know that this is the guy? I don't know. The full police garb and everything, like this is straight out of a movie. And, if you were looked through a peephole, which is a fisheye, by the way, did they open their door? Did the lawmakers see a police officer out their door and then open their door? Is that how they figured they were going to get in? And you would say, like, well, what's up with this mask? I wouldn't open up with this mask. If you've seen when people wear this mask, if you were looking through a fisheye lens, you most likely wouldn't think it was a fake. Like, there's tons of people with that exact same mask that have done YouTube Zoom calls and pranks with that mask. Heck, Goose Wayne uses one just like it, only he put hair on the sides. And he does videos with it all the time, and people just think it's creepy, that he looks creepy, right? Dex, go ahead.
I was going to make a minor correction in what I said. I think the Hartmans are the ones that survived, and Hortmans, and no, Hortmans is the one I said had survived, Adam, and I'm sorry, I got that backwards. That's the one that perished.
Oh, thank you.
The other one is the I think it was a gentleman, John Hoffman. That's the one that's wounded, and I think there's spouses involved too.
Now, along all sides of this, there are videos being put out that are very contradictory, and then the actual stories coming from the media say otherwise. So this gentleman posted a video essentially saying that somebody drove by and something went bang. It sounded like a big explosive. And then all of a sudden there were these fires on the Las Vegas Strip. Now, remember, Las Vegas said no to protests. There's actually videos, even more videos of the protests in Las Vegas, or the lack thereof. And they had police in numbers. Basically, anybody who started up, they would just push them out of the way. And it seems like there was not that big of a protest in Las Vegas. Now, mind you, Las Vegas is billions and billions of dollars. I don't know, probably every week, probably maybe every day. So they probably had an itch to keep it, Las Vegas exactly how Las Vegas is. But I was kind of surprised that Las Vegas was one of the few places that said no and backed it up. So with that being said, was there something? Now, this is somebody who posted a white SUV. We still don't know if this was anything. Some other didn't the news say that this was fireworks or something like that? When you first looked to verify it, saying fireworks.
The official report from the initial release from the fire department and the first responders there, they said it was fireworks that were shot off into that tree, causing it to catch fire. But that just doesn't seem right. I mean, I know fireworks can be loud, and maybe up against a building it can be louder, but it sounds like from witnesses, it sounds like it was much bigger than that. I don't know if fireworks would ignite 2 trees in a car.
Yeah, and if you look at other angles, there's a car that's fully engulfed. So it to me, it looked more like an explosion. But at the same time, if you look at the actual, the temperature and how hot it is in Las Vegas, and isn't it a lack of humidity? It's dry. So could it do that? A firework lighted up like that? I don't know. I'm not from Vegas. If you're from Vegas, chime in below. If somebody throws a cigarette butt in a bush like that, could it cause a fire like that? And then we, of course, have a lot more on our website about Vance Bolter if you want to go. But check this out. About 12 hours ago, everybody was talking about this. So in the beginning of the day, well, all of this is still it's in infancy. There was an EAM. There was, again, the U.S. Air Force sent out a giant 246-character emergency action message. Starseed Astrology says, I used to work on EAM systems. In my opinion, this was a nuclear flex and or readiness op. Crazy times. We'll play a clip of this right here. Let's see here.
Message of 236 characters follows.
So when you hear these things, the EAMs, again, could be readiness op. It could be a lot of things. But they said, again, that is basically a top secret military text using something called high frequency global communication system. What does it mean? Nobody outside the military knows. And it could be a drill. It could be the real world alert. It could be someone checking if the nukes still have Wi-Fi. These messages are how the U.S. talks to its nuclear forces around the globe. And when one is this long shows up, people start paying attention. Whatever it said, it was definitely not Happy Flag Day. So, yeah, I'm trying to remember the last time we saw one that big. Dex, aren't they normally much, much smaller? I mean...
Yeah, especially like the Sky Kings. They were always really short.
Yeah, I mean, they had like single names. So again, very, very crazy stuff. Now, again, real quick, just to mention, go over to marfooglenews.com/Jace if you don't have a backup of antibiotics. This is a great and easy service that you can use from the comfort of your couch or from your, again, anywhere, from your tablet or your cell phone. And you can talk to a board-certified doctor and get a kit of all of the most commonly prescribed antibiotics. Again, this is the Jace case, and you can get it from Jace at marfooglenews.com/Jace. Make sure to use the code MARF to save money and to help independent media at the same time. Also, check on their add-on list because you can add on things like albuterol and other things that you may need in a disaster. Could be any kind of disaster. It doesn't have to be the end of the world or a nuclear disaster. It could be an earthquake, a fire, a storm, a tornado, whatever it may be. It's definitely good to have those on hand. All right. And again, with you also have at the same time, which most people, there was 1 million posts about the protests today. And you know how many posts about like the all-out conflict that just busted out between Israel and Iran? I think it was like 3,400 or something. That's insane. Now, mind you, and it might have been 34,000 compared to 1 million. It is insane how many places are covering the protests, and these protests virtually came out of nowhere, even though they didn't. We know exactly where they came from. But meanwhile, this is all going on. Now, if you left out on a Friday, we were talking about how Israel did the strike and how there was potentially strikes going from Iran back. Well, now there is a lot of strikes going back. And now they have videos after video after video essentially showing the Lebanese people, Yemen people are watching this on big screens, almost like, the what do you call it? The giant screen in a stadium. The Jumbotron, people are watching it. Thousands are watching it on Jumbotron, cheering and screaming at Iran basically striking back, right? There is a lot of back and forth on social media. Everybody is divided on this. People are actually cheering on this. With that being said, now multiple Israeli targets have been hit. The Ministry of Defense there. One gentleman was actually filming the Iron Dome doing its thing, and he's on about probably the 10th floor, and then all of a sudden you see one of Iranian's missiles hit right next to him in the building next door. And apparently that was the Ministry of Defense headquarters. There was also an entire apartment building that got a direct hit. The video of that is something we can't even show you. Go over and check that out. Again, go over to X. If you're not part of X, I would highly recommend getting on. There is a video of probably 30-story building that gets directly hit. And at first I thought it was fake. It looked so crazy. But then you have the multiple angles, and then you have the recovery now. People were in that building and not in bunkers. That building had a direct hit. Once you see some of the other angles, it is pretty savage. It was response. So they are full on. It's a two-way conflict. They were ready. So once Israel did this huge, massive strike and took out, they say, most of their nuclear scientists, the army chiefs, all of this, and this is getting kind of put on the back burner right now. This is Saturday right now, and by Monday, we might be in a whole different place. Dex, go ahead.
Yeah, and on the Israel side, they have now claimed from western Iran all the way to Tehran. They have claimed air superiority. They have done such a phenomenal job, apparently, of taking out anti-air and their air defense systems that they basically have air superiority all the way to the capital, Tehran.
That's what Israel is claiming, correct?
Yes, that's what they're claiming.
So if Tehran is on its back legs, you're talking about they have military treaties with Russia and other countries that may have to jump in if they are truly losing like that. You're, of course, seeing them sent volley after volley and after volley in Israel. We don't know what the exact truth is. I know that people have their political views on one side or the other. I just saw one video of an Iranian gentleman who came out and said, hey, do you guys not realize like what this current regime is like for women, for other things, and how it used to be back in the 70s. He was talking about how, women used to be able to just walk around and be free to wear whatever they want. And he's thinking that his viewpoint was kind of a great one. But on the other side, people just cannot stand the fact that the people that are hitting that regime is Israel. Of course, there's lots and lots of information going on both sides. It seems right now like there is a propaganda battle between two massive, massive powers. And we're not talking about in Iran. We're talking about globally. This is, again, something that seems to me like there's an like we're getting divided. Like all of these things are coordinated. And when you look at the root of everything, including the protests that just happened, you see that these are absolutely ready to go, loaded up when something happens. On Friday, when this whole thing happened, it was like they were ready to go, ready to launch that site, ready to cover it on every media thing. How did so many people even know about the damn thing? Well, because they talked about it on every media company. Who owns every media company? You see my meaning? So this is really, really scary stuff. We are heading into what I have known about for years. We're heading into World War III. And this isn't even the start of it. This is the start of the public-facing hot war that is going to trigger a ton of other dominoes to fall. So this is why we've been telling people to prep for the last few years. I hope that everybody has taken that advice. We're not trying to scare people. If you're scared of this, then you're probably just finding out about it. But if you've known about this for years, I don't see how you couldn't be desensitized to this and be knowing that this has been a long time coming. All right, you guys. Have a great, great night. Again, Dex, is there anything we're missing, though? I know there's just a ton that has gone down in the last 24 hours.
I think we've pretty much covered it all at a high level. And I think the only one that is probably a lot more information you guys can go dig in on X and other places, especially off our links, is the background of this accused shooter in Minnesota and the questions around him.
Yeah. So, and again, it could be a double whammy. It could be like, oh, you think that this is this guy and it's not this guy, but why would they make it look like this guy? It's 40 chess if it's not him. All right, you guys, have a wonderful night. Thank you. Craig-alicious, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for supporting tonight. Those hypersonics are insane. Some might consider them karma. Hopefully there is no expansion outside of the region, and we can all stay the hell out of it. Well, we'll see. And Craig-alicious, thank you so much for your support, and thank you for supporting Independent. Guys, have a wonderful night. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out.